to...
All right. Thank you so much, everybody. Hello, and welcome back to the Mortgage Lounge. I'm your host, Jason Thibodeau, as always. We're shooting live today, and every once in a while, I have a guest come in who normally I don't get nervous, but for some reason, with Oriana, a very powerful woman, always makes me nervous. Oh, good. Well, you're in good company. Oriana Shea, welcome to the program. How are you?
Thank you. Good.
Yeah, it's good to see you, and thank you for making time for this.
Good to see you too. Yeah, this is fun.
I consider you the queen of Long Beach real estate, for the record.
Thank you. Yep. That's very nice to hear.
And I'm nervous just because I really respect you and hold you in high esteem.
Oh, that's really nice. Thank you.
It's true.
I'm flattered.
And I'm excited for you to use this space moving forward. We're going to talk about a lot of things today. What's going on with the market and interest rates. What's that thing about a 50-year mortgage? You're not just an expert in Long Beach real estate. You're an expert in real estate in general. I think you said you just took a listing in Mission Viejo. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yorba Linda.
I'm sorry. Yorba Linda.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, you've been doing it a long time.
We're all over. Yeah.
How long have you been in the industry?
So, I've been licensed since the mid-90s, but this business, the Oriana Shea Group, has been around since 2004.
Okay.
So, my background is in design. I went back into design after I got my license, but I kept the license and then just decided I was just going to go for it in 2000.
Interior decoration or?
Clothing design.
Clothing design.
But it evolved into interiors.
So that's where your fashion sense came from.
It's where something came from.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I've met your operations manager, Ronnie. I had known of your name. It's hard not to have heard your name in the marketplace just with the marketing you do and the name that you've established. But it was one of your buyer's agents who at some point finally connected us, and I'm really grateful for that.
Yeah. I'm really glad too.
Yeah. Let's talk about the Long Beach market a little bit. Things are going on with condos, and you have kind of a unique approach to your marketing, your data tracking, what you're doing on behalf of your clients that I would think would be considered something that differentiates you.
Yeah, I'm very proud of where we've evolved with the marketing. I mean, the marketing has been my creative outlet, in this business. It
is the fun part, isn't it?
It is. It's where I get to be creative, between that and also working with my sellers on getting their home ready and doing it in a way that isn't going to break the bank, showing them some, affordable shortcuts, but getting it to the point where we're presentation ready. And, I've been a huge believer from day one. You only get one chance to make a great first impression.
Yeah,
whether it's, them with their property or me with the marketing.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the basis of, what I do on that side of it.
Yeah. It could be very scary for homeowners on that regard. I should be better at this, but I recently tried to remodel a bathroom for one of my kids, and it did not go well.
Oh no.
Yeah. I thought I was hiring somebody who was great, and man, was I wrong, right? It turned into something that dragged on for months.
The contractor or did they do the design work too?
No, I hired a designer and that was fine.
Okay.
But the actual execution of the plan, right? Spending $40,000 or $50,000 on a small bathroom remodel, probably not ideal. So
having it turn out the way you want it.
Yeah, exactly. Oh. And, dragging on for months and the frustration that comes with that. And I'm just mentioning that because what you're talking about sounds very straightforward, but it is actually an art, in my opinion. I've learned that the hard way.
It's really interesting as long as I've been doing this, and for, however many people I've been working for over the years, how most people live is not how their homes need to look when they're getting ready to put it on the market.
That's very well said.
It's and I've been so lucky that I've helped so many amazing people. I mean, I really can count on one hand the select few that, it's okay if we don't jive and don't talk again. But for the the enormous amount of people that I've been able to help, and they've all been very open to what do we need to do.
Yeah.
And most people, the nervousness comes from if they have limited funds and they just, they're like, oh my God, how much do we have to spend to get the house ready? And I'm like, well, let's see what we've got to work with. Maybe you don't have to spend anything. And a lot of times I'll tell people, please don't start making fixes until I see the house, because if it's not going to yield a return, I'm going to tell you not to do it.
You're wasting your money.
Why spend money on it? And so I really try to be very transparent and just try to help people save money along the way if they need to, and then you've got the other side of it where they have they have the funds and the ability, and they're open, and then I really get to have fun.
Yeah.
So
you can really optimize.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't, very rarely does it end up in, full remodels, and that's not necessary. But, just depends on what their goals are.
Yeah, this is the piece that, well, what does a real estate agent do? What value do they bring? Gosh. And there's so many things, because what we're talking about is obviously just scratching the surface.
Yeah.
No pun intended. Do me a favor, bring that just in case a little bit higher and closer. I just want to make sure it's picking up your voice.
Okay.
And there's another thing we were going to talk about from a marketing aspect, but that, like, just the one thing you mentioned alone, while it is just the tip of the iceberg, it's a big deal. And I'm sure a lot of people waste a lot of money if they're given bad advice or doing it on their own.
Well, you come across the people that are, I don't want to meet with you because we're fixing some things before you come over.
Got it. Yeah.
And then I have to kind of talk, well, what are you fixing? Maybe we should talk through it before you fix it, because if it's not something that's, people sometimes they go down the rabbit hole and then they start it's like one thing leads to another, and then they start fixing all kinds of things.
I think the problem, Oriana, is people are emotionally attached.
Oh, very. Right? It's your home.
When you're
How
inside
can you not be?
Of your emotional bubble, for lack of a better way of putting it, you're seeing it through a different lens. Whereas you're coming in outside of the emotional bubble. And also, having done this for many, many decades, and like, I don't know how many hundreds or thousands of transactions, experience does matter.
Yeah. And then I do a lot of trust sales and some probates. And so then I have the people that, they fly in to sell the family member's property, and they don't want to do anything. They're going to interview a few realtors, decide who they want to work with, and they just want to sell it and get it off the books, right?
Even though they're throwing money away.
Well, that's usually what the conversation leads to. Yeah. And then, when I explain to them, look, I understand you want to sell it as is. Is that because you don't have the funds, or a budget to make any repairs, or because you don't live here and you just, you don't want to deal with it?
Yeah.
And 9 times out of 10, they're not here and they don't want to deal with it. So we project manage everything. And I've shown them, so many people time and again, look, if I can show you how to yield potentially 50, 70, 80 grand more with very little output of expense and no output of energy on your part, is it worth the conversation?
Right.
Do you want to talk about this?
That feels like a no-brainer.
And what do you mean? There's well, you could put it on the market as is, and you're going to get investors, and you're going to get a lot of low ball offers, and you're going to get it sold fast, which is what you want. Or let me have it for a couple weeks. Let me do X, Y, Z and stage it. And this is what I think you can sell it for, list it for and sell it for. Is it worth it? And sometimes I can pass the expenses through escrow.
I was just going to ask you that, right?
Depends on what it is.
Yeah, right.
But sometimes I can. And then it's really a no-brainer. Like, why wouldn't you do that?
Right. Totally.
Yeah,
it's huge value.
Yeah. So I'm actually getting ready to do another video with some before and after case studies.
I love the before and after. That's such great
Everybody
marketing.
Loves it. It's like,
it's like the epitome of perfect marketing.
But I think it just reinforces, you're not alone. Like, this is, people live how people live. But I compare it to this. When you're getting ready to put your house on the market, you have to look at it like this. your house is going on a job interview.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Right.
So if you were going on a job interview
or having a physical by a doctor,
are you going to roll out of bed and show up in your sweats,
Right.
not showered,
Yeah.
or are you going to, put your best foot forward and get dressed up? And, so it's kind of the same thing. That's what I kind of compare staging to that, getting it ready.
I grew up with a dad who was an entrepreneur. He owned the largest shutter manufacturer in Orange County when I was growing up, Pulse Custom Shutters. He was his own manufacturer, from the build to the painting to the install and to the design. And so he was the master of marketing. I got to grow up watching all of that. And that was before the days of internet and social media mostly. And so it was always flyers and postcards of before and afters and whatnot, affordable craftsmanship. I don't remember the catchphrase, but you get my point. It was the before and after thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm working. It's just hard to sometimes put it all together because you just do it and you keep doing it. And I have, my marketing people are like, we need to do another video on this.
Yeah. Well, we could even at some point utilize the studio with live production to have illustrations done while you're doing this type of thing. So it's kind of fun to talk about. But speaking of value, we're going to segue into what we were talking about earlier off camera, the way you track data and, how your viewership compares with your marketing efforts to, do you even want me to name the others?
No. Well, so I don't know why I didn't start doing this a long time ago, because I spend so much on marketing. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And my counterparts they scratch their heads like, what are you doing? Like, how are you doing this? I'm like, I'm spending a lot of money doing it, but the proof is in the numbers. And I finally was able to show that to myself and to the clients, because now what I'm doing is, and I've been doing this for a little while, but we send them a marketing activity report and sales update each week. So it tracks everything.
And you're talking about your clients who you have current listings for, or
our sellers, our people that are selling.
Got it.
I mean, we come up with a time and action schedule, and it starts there, and that shows them that we're on track to go on the market when we said we were. This is being done, and especially for people that live out of the area, they love it because they see what we're doing and where we are in the process, and that their home is getting
that makes
prepped.
A lot of sense. Back to the comment about probate and trust sales.
Yeah. And they really appreciate that. I mean, most people appreciate it because they see that we're staying in touch with them like we said we would. We're keeping them up to date. And then once we go on the market, I had my team look at how can we track our numbers versus the number of views on the bigger websites.
Yeah, the ones that everyone would know.
Realtor.com, Redfin.
Redfin, yeah.
And we started doing that. And I was blown away earlier this year when we started doing this. Just in 1 week, I think one of our new listings, we had like 11,000 views on YouTube. Wow. And by the second week, we had like 18,000 hits and views on social media. And then I was looking at, well, how many people are going, if this is such a popular property, how many people are finding it on the public sites? And I think, Zillow was like 1,200 views. Realtor was
wow,
600 or 700, and Redfin was practically nothing.
Is that just because you're targeted and your branding and your reputation in the local marketplace? So,
and this is beyond my pay grade, but I've hired the right people.
Yeah.
To be on the bus with marketing, but I have pushed my team with, a targeted ad spend and how do we adjust the filters to get in front of more of the right people.
Yeah, you want the right audience.
We want the right audience. We're not just, I'm not just doing all this.
Ideally, this isn't going to some random place in Florida.
No. It's targeted within a certain mile radius around the property.
Yeah.
And it's getting in front of people that have indicated they're in the market to buy something, in that area, which I don't know how it all works and how they all do it, but
Sure.
this is what I've been pushing and it's working. So, we're getting more people into the open houses and ultimately we're getting, the property sold faster and
I've noticed a
for
theme
more.
with you is you show the result, right? So whether it's the viewership like we're talking about now or the before and after with the work that sellers are doing with you, it's kind of neat.
Yeah. So I'm proud of that. And I want to just spend my time working with my clients. I get so much joy out of it. A few years ago we had, 10 agents on the team and we were growing, and it got to the point where I was spending more time doing that than what I really enjoy and love doing, which is working with the clients and working on the marketing.
Back to basics.
Yeah. So I just scaled everything back.
Yeah.
I'm like,
I understand that. Sometimes less is more.
For sure.
And nobody's going to do it better than you, right? And I'm sure your clients want you.
Well, somebody is, and so I'm always looking for who is doing it better. What can I learn from them?
That's what you call healthy paranoia.
Exactly.
Or healthy competition.
Exactly.
I don't know.
But I'm not letting you out of this room until we talk about the market.
Talk about the market. Yeah. Want to make sure you get that content too.
The Mortgage Lounge.
Yeah.
I like that.
Isn't that fun?
That is fun.
So what would your question be for me? Like, where are interest rates going, or?
Yeah, because that's the thing that's on everybody's.
Yeah.
That's the topic of conversation.
Sure.
They're going down. They're not going down.
Mm-hmm. Well, sometimes,
Jason, what's happening?
Happy to answer that. Realtors, borrowers, sellers, buyers. Sometimes we get amnesia, and we can't see the forest for the trees. Right now, to be able to say for a good time now, a 6.25% 30-year fix is more or less the average. Sometimes, depending on the product, we're in the 5% range. That we haven't been able to say in a very, very long time. Not so long ago, in 2024 and 2023 and 2022, we were hovering in between 7 and 8%.
Yes.
And it was a very difficult time for everyone. So I always like to start with that reminder, because people forget. That's like, yes, interest rates are high, but they're also on average about 100 plus basis points lower than they have been for almost 3 years. And that's why we're seeing, the market's shifting a little bit in the sense of inventory was a little higher than we're used to this year. But we're also seeing some pent-up demand show up in terms of, at least with our pipeline activity, in terms of buyers showing interest. Because what's different about the fact that interest rates are at 6.25 right now, when they used to go down before, let's say in 2024, I don't know if you remember, we saw that interest rate drop in the third quarter. Everyone, very exciting. And then within 6 weeks, or maybe it lasted 8 weeks at the most, what'd they do? They shot right back up.
Yeah.
And we had that theme happening over the course of those last few years. And so it was very difficult to gain any traction or momentum in the marketplace for buyers or to generate more demand. What's different, right? I don't want to jinx it, right? Where's the wood? We've had duration to these interest rates staying in the low 6% range for months now. And that is a victory, in my opinion. Now, I know everyone wants to see interest rates go lower from here. Yeah.
Yes.
And they do. And I think that day is coming. I'm going to say that I don't have a crystal ball and I can't put a guarantee stamp on that. But it's very likely that the weird part about what's going on right now is we had the longest government shutdown in history.
Well aware.
Yeah, we just came out of that, and
didn't help.
No, it didn't. Right, because at the end of the day, it's not good for the economy to have the federal government not operating.
Yeah.
But also, in terms of the Fed and their ability to make a decision in the December meeting, the last meeting of the year they're going to have, they needed to go off of what they always say, data, and they're going to have maybe some data trickling out. I think the jobs report comes out tomorrow from September. So we're going to start to see lagging data start trickling out. But my fear is the Fed is saying, I don't have enough data to make a convincing decision. We do think that he's going to cut interest rates one more time in the December meeting. And here's what I'll say. It's a very strange thing in our industry because bad news is good news. And it's kind of weird to have to say that because we don't cheer for bad news. but that's just the dynamics of the market. So what we've noticed, and the reason interest rates are where they are, is the labor market's weakening, right? If you're paying attention to the jobs reports, the labor market's weakening. And as long as the weakness continues in these reports, interest rates will continue to drop from here. And I do believe that will be the case.
So yay, the interest rates are down, but boo, people are losing their jobs. That's not.
Yeah,
it's tough.
It is tough. I mean, we haven't really gotten to a point like ADP, I guess, the private payroll report is the first one that's starting to show negative job creations. We haven't gotten to that point really yet with the BLS report from the government. But it's kind of the trend, right? It's kind of heading in that direction. And once there's no stopping that train once the momentum builds.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm pretty convinced that we are going to see rates in the 5s at some point next year. Do
you feel, sorry to interrupt, but do you feel that that's what some buyers are sitting on the sidelines waiting for? They're waiting for it to get back into the 5s. And with some jumbo programs, jumbo programs a lower interest rate or better, there's better rates to be had in the 5s right now.
Absolutely. 5.5.
So the more money you're borrowing, so what that means is the more money you're borrowing, you know, over what's the minimum?
Conforming is 815,000 with the new update, something like that.
Up to
815 for conforming,
really?
and then we're up to like 1.2. Don't quote me on that, but like 1.23 million for the high balance stuff.
Okay. So,
but that's conventional Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, right? So traditional guidelines for your average borrower, first-time home buyer.
Right.
If you're upper echelon and you're buying 1.5 to 2 plus million, and you've got liquidity, you've got good income, you've got good credit, banks are lending you their own money from their own portfolio. And why are they giving you a better interest rate than what Fannie Freddie can give you? It's because they want your assets, right? They're giving you is a teaser rate in order to bring you over as a client. Hey, bring over your checking and savings. We'd like to manage you financially as well as an advisor. All of that stuff. The big banks want that. They want your deposits.
Of course they do.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we are certainly in the 5.5.
Are you seeing any uptick in activity on your side of it with applications right now?
We are, yeah. Surprisingly so.
I feel like there's a lot of activity in the market right now.
Yes, surprisingly so.
People are moving.
Mm-hmm.
They're tired of waiting.
You know, my wife owns an escrow company. She's extremely busy. RPAs coming through constantly. And then for us, the busiest we had been in the heart of spring and summer busy season was about 60 to 65 active transactions going. And right now we're at 59. So, and application volume is still hovering at the higher levels, which leads me to believe that's going to continue through the Christmas holiday, which I'm literally shocked about. Yeah. But I think that has to do with what I was saying earlier with pent up demand. 6.25 or less having duration, not doing this, right, is what's causing the market to normalize a little bit.
And what do you think is going to happen first quarter if you had to pull out the crystal ball? Because I feel like first quarter, especially if the rates do trickle down in December, I think it's going to be busy.
It's going to be very busy.
And traditionally,
I see where you're going with this.
is usually first quarter is when I take a break because it's the slowest time for us.
Yeah. Well, seasonality doesn't always apply depending on what interest rates are doing.
So in California, it really doesn't.
Yeah. Well, you got the weather, right? Good weather.
Right. You don't you're not impacted by weather like some
We don't live in Michigan.
Yeah. I mean, I talk to agents all over the country and they really
seasonality is a real thing there.
It's a real thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even know how they survive.
I totally get it. Yeah.
But for us, if I had to say when is it the slowest time of year, and people are usually shocked when I tell them, it's not the end of the year when during the holidays. There have been years where December was my busiest month. I know. Which is crazy. I don't know if it's just because I'm one of the few that's still working through
that
December.
Could be. I know some people do hibernate in this industry.
They do. Yeah. They do. But first quarter has been traditionally.
January, February, I would say, are usually the slowest months. It's after Super Bowl Sunday that you start to see a ramp up if the seasonality is happening.
This year, we're going into this next first quarter. What do you think?
As long as interest rates don't spike up, and in fact, if they continue to subtly drop, we are going to be busy. And here's the thing.
Yeah.
I think what's causing anyone to hesitate right now, A, they're either worried about their job, which is a valid fear, right? But B, if you're paying attention to social media, quote unquote, gurus or Twitter/X, and you're doom scrolling about the real estate crash inevitably coming, well, and a lot of people are convinced that that is happening and it's true. It's not, and I can get into reasons why, but if anybody's holding themselves back, it's because of things like that. I would say irrational fears.
Yeah. Yeah. And I can't say this enough, but waiting for the interest rates is the wrong way to do it, because you can always refinance.
Especially if you can afford the payment today.
Yeah. I mean, if you're waiting for that, then, think about what's going to happen when the rates do come down.
Yeah.
You're going to be up against more competition, and prices are still going up.
Yeah.
It's hard to believe, but maybe at a slower rate, but in a lot of areas, prices have still continued to go up. I mean, when I show graphs of the last 12 months, it's so indicative of what my day-to-day looks like, because the spikes are like this. and in like any area, prices came down that month, but then they went right back up the next month.
Right. Yeah.
So
you have to take a longer term view.
You do, because over the long spread, you'll see that, from a year ago, in a lot of areas, the values are
year over year higher.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is the hard part. People get stuck on just looking at it from a strictly financial perspective. Now, I understand that if you're a fix and flipper. I understand that if you're an investor who wants to hold on to a rental property. Where I don't agree with that, with all due respect, is if you're buying your primary residence. Because if you're buying your primary residence, it is first your home.
Yeah.
And then it's an investment, right? You have to live somewhere anyway.
Right.
And the idea of trying to time the market to perfection on a primary residence, if you can afford the payment, okay, and it's the home that is right for your family, whether it's school district area, whatever, curb appeal, those are the things that matter and should supersede anything else. Because time in the market, whether it's 5 or 10 plus years, makes whether or not you bought at the perfect time, it makes it irrelevant.
Right. Yeah. And in California in general, if you're renting, your landlord's raising your rent every year to keep up with the new, with the rent control laws.
And it's not just that. You also have to deal with a landlord.
Yeah.
Now, I get that there's good landlords out there and people who have good cushy situations on lower than market rents and good relationships with their landlord. That might be the exception to the rule. But in general, the idea of why I say it's a home first is you get to design the house the way you want.
Yep.
You Super Bowl Sunday at your house, Christmas morning, hanging Christmas lights. These are what makes it a home, raising your kids in the home. That's what matters in my opinion. And I think that conversation gets lost completely in the conversation of real estate, in my opinion. And I'm just going to encourage people to don't let fear and external opinions from quote unquote social media gurus decide what you're going to do for you and your family.
Agreed. 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got to make decisions, based on fact and what right now.
Yeah.
Don't try to hedge your bets on what's going to happen 6 months from now. We don't know.
We don't.
We don't know.
Yeah.
So
play out worst case scenario. You bought a home you can afford and the market didn't do what you want. Guess what? Time in the market makes that irrelevant.
Yeah. And, we've all seen how quickly things can go the other way. I mean, the government can shut down and all of a sudden that interest rate drop is not coming.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
Anything can happen,
Yeah. Putting your life on hold. It's almost like you're signing up willingly for purgatory.
Yeah.
And I just don't think it makes sense. I think part of our personal growth and development as human beings is taking on responsibilities, not just getting married and having kids, but buying a home. And in my opinion, like staying in that space of trepidation and renting, it's going to delay what will inevitably be personal growth for you too. I've got all kinds of opinions on this stuff.
You don't say. You don't say.
Does that answer your question on the market? Anything else you want me to address?
Yeah, pretty much. I think, the interest rates was the biggest thing that I wanted to address and talk about, because just depending on, who you talk to or the week that it is.
Keep in mind, we have a new Fed chair being named in January or December. Jerome Powell is going to be exiting his position as Fed chair in May of next year. And the current administration's already assigned a new Fed governor that is on his side, and some are starting to sway the current administration side. And then he's going to name somebody who will be in alignment with him. So there's also that to think about too.
What do you know about the new Fed chair?
They say the president has chosen, he's made his decision. They think it's going to be one of the current Fed governors that is more dovish, right? Because right now we're all very frustrated with the current Fed chair, because we feel not only did he screw up the COVID inflation is transitory thing, but now he's screwing up the higher for longer thing, where we're at the point where Main Street, regular human beings, are in a struggle mode, with the exception of, the top 1%. And just because the stock market is high doesn't mean that your average lower or middle class human being is having a great time.
No.
And I think that that's real, and everyone feels that. And to have the Fed moving as slow as they are, they're repeating the same mistake in a different way that they did with the comment about inflation as transitory. So before, holding rates too low for too long, now holding rates too high for too long. And then they're going to be in reactivity if they do this way too long, put us in recession, and we'll all get what we want, lower interest rates, but it's going to come with an economic recession.
Yeah, there's going to be a big cost to it, though. So do you think this new Fed chair is going to be better for the economy and for the American people?
We're at a point where the only thing keeping inflation at 2.5% to 3% is lagging data related to shelter. Real-time shelter data when it comes to rents, which makes up 30 to 40% of CPI and PCE. If you apply real-time rents, we're below 2%. They're looking at data from a year and 2 years ago to make these decisions while Main Street suffers, while lower middle class human beings suffer. And they're pointing to, well, Bitcoin's at 95,000. That doesn't, that is irrelevant, right?
Yeah.
So that's why people are frustrated. And there's no way that Trump's going to misstep this one. Politics aside, I don't care who anyone voted for. But what I will say is in his first administration, he didn't know what he was doing. Second administration, he's learned the lesson of, appointing people that aren't his people. So I think that the guy he assigns, Fed chair, is going to be doing the bidding of Scott Bessent, the Secretary Treasurer, and of the President.
We can only hope that he does a better job.
I'm not a political person, by the way. I'm more just strictly looking at the financial aspect, the economic aspect.
It's too polarizing. I stay away from
politics. So that's my disclaimer, just so you care.
Me too.
Just, I've voted for all kinds of random people.
Me too.
I would piss everyone off.
We're not going to talk about that. We're not here to piss anybody off.
All right. Well, I think I feel complete.
I feel good.
Yeah, right on. Oriana Shea with the Oriana Shea Group. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Jason.
That was fun.
This was fun.
Okay, everybody. Until next time. Thanks.